paintings from the Roman era. Most of the paintings in this era were copied or imitated from Hellenic Greek paintings. Fresco technique was used in brightly colored backgrounds. Have a wide variety of subjects, animals, everyday life, still life, mythological subjects, portraits, and landscapes. The development of landscape painting is the main innovation of Roman painting from Greek painting. Division of the wall into a multiple rectangular areas, tic-tac-toe. Multi-point perspective and a trompe-l'oeil effect. Mosaic. Art process where an image is created using an assemblage of small pieces of colored glass, stones, or other materials. This technique is used for decorative art or interior decorations. Head of Alexander. The full image of Roman floor mosaic is in the house of Van Pompey, dated 100 BC. The whole mosaic depicts the battle between the armies of Alexander the Great and Darius III of Persia. Fresco from the Villa of Mysteries. Ancient Roman villa on the outskirts of Pompeii, southern Italy, famous for the series of exquisite frescoes in one room, which are usually thought to show the initiation of a young woman into a Greco-Roman mystery cult. Boscotrices, Pompeii. The fresco on the northern wall is a large sacro, idyllic landscape of a tomb with an altar and statue of a seated deity floating on a white background. Roman sculptures. Made of monumental terracotta, Romans did not attempt to compete with the Greeks but rather they produced reliefs in the great Roman triumphal columns with the continuous narrative reliefs around. The Portonacio sarcophagus, 180 to 190 BCE, Museo Nacional Romano. Use of burial of Roman general involved in the campaign of Marcus Aurelius, the best known and most elaborate of all sarcophagus. It is a box-like funeral receptacle for a dead body. Comes from Greek word sarx meaning flesh and pagain meaning to eat. Depicts battle between Romans and Germans, carved in marble. Sarcophagus from Cerveteri, 520 BCE, Museo de Nacional de Villa Giulia, Rome. Made of terracotta, 2.6 meter in length. A husband and wife are shown reclining comfortably as if they were on a couch. Roman architecture. Roman architecture is famous for its domes, arcs, amphitheaters, temples, thermae, atriums, aqueducts, apartments, houses, and for many other factors that made it unique. They built sturdy stone structures and both for use and to perpetuate their glory. The emperors erected huge halls and arenas for public games, baths, and procession. They built this with gigantic arcs of stone, bricks, and concrete or with barrel bolts. A characteristic feature of Roman design was the combined use of arcuated and trabeated construction, employing arcs and constructed with posts and lintel. Although at first tentatively employed in the spaces between the classical columns, the arc eventually came to be the chief and structural element. Examples: the Colosseum. The Colosseum, also known as the Flavian Amphitheater, is an oval amphitheater in the center of the city of Rome, Italy, built of travertine limestone, tuff, and brick-faced concrete. It was the largest amphitheater ever built at the time and held 50,000 to 80,000 spectators. The Baths of Caracalla. The Baths of Caracalla in Rome, Italy were the city's second largest Roman public baths or thermae, likely built between AD 212 and 216 over 217 during the reigns of Emperor Septimus Severus in Caracalla. They were in operation until 530s and they fell into disuse and ruin. Temple of Bacchus. The Temple of Bacchus is part of Baalbek Temple complex located in the broad Albica, Lebanon. The temple complex is considered an outstanding archaeological and artistic site of Imperial Roman architecture and was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984.
Paintings, sculpture, architectures of Byzantine era. Byzantine era. After the death of Constantine, the Roman Empire was split by two capitals, Rome in the west and Constantinople in the east. The eastern capital took control with Justinian as emperor. This time became known as Byzantine Empire or the Golden Age. Byzantine art. Byzantine art, architecture, paintings, and other visual art produced in the Middle Ages in the Byzantine Empire, centered at Constantinople, and in various areas that came under its influence. The pictorial and architectural styles that characterize Byzantine art, first codified in the 6th century, persisted with remarkable homogeneity within the empire until its final dissolution with the capture of Constantinople by the Turks in 1453. Byzantine art includes a departure from classical art forms that were highly realistic in nature. Byzantine artists were less concerned with mimicking reality and more in tune with symbolism, religious symbolism in particular. Byzantine art comprises the body of Christian Greek artistic products of the Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire, as well as the nation and states that inherited culturally from the empire. Byzantine art continues the ancient tradition of fresco and mosaic painting, bringing the latter to new heights. Interior church walls are covered in shimmering tesserae made of gold, colored stone, and glass. In this era, the churches were covered with mosaics in the interior. Paintings of Byzantine era. Byzantine Christian art had a triple purpose of beautifying a building, instructing the illiterate on matters vital for the welfare of their soul, and encouraging the faithful that they were on the correct path to salvation. For this reason, the interiors of Byzantine churches were covered with paintings and mosaics. Byzantine paintings is marked by a combination of the classical heritage of Greece and Rome with a more formal and hieratic medieval style. Madonna and Child by Duccio di Boninsegna. Madonna and Child is a painting produced by Duccio di Boninsegna in 1300. The work in this painting is characterized as the most admired artwork of Duccio. In this painting, Madonna is depicted carrying the child with her hands. Pala di Oro was first commissioned by Doge Pietro Orciolo in 976. It was made up of several enamels and precious stones, depicting many saints. This is the most refined and accomplished works known worldwide of Byzantine enamel. Theotokos of Vladimir is a medieval Byzantine artwork of the Virgin and Child produced in 1130. It is also known as Our Lady of Vladimir, Vladimir Mother of God, or Virgin of Vladimir. This was painted in Constantinople.
Architectures of Byzantine art. Their combination of the basilica and symmetrical central plan, circular or polygonal. Religious structures resulted in the characteristic Byzantine Greek cross-plan church, with a square central mass and four arms of equal length. The most distinctive feature was the dome roof. Byzantine architects were eclectic, at first drawing heavily on Roman temple features. Their combination of the basilica and symmetrical central plan, circular or polygonal. Religious structures resulted in the characteristic Byzantine Greek cross-plan church, with a square central mass and four arms of equal length. When the Roman Empire went Christian as well as eastwards, with its new capital at Constantinople, its architecture became more sensuous and more ambitious. This new style would come to be known as Byzantine, with increasingly exotic domes and ever richer mosaic. As a result, they created vast open spaces at the centers of churches, heightening the sense of grace and light. The round arch is a fundamental of Byzantine style. Examples are Pamakaristos Church, also known as the Church of Theotokos Pamakaristos, O Blessed Mother of God, is one of the most famous Greek Orthodox Byzantine churches in Istanbul, Turkey, adopted in 1591 into the Fethiye Mosque. It is today partly a museum. The Pareklesion. The Basilica of San Vitale is a late antique church in Ravenna, Italy. The 6th century church is an important surviving example of early Christian Byzantine art and architecture. It is one of 8 structures in Ravenna inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Sculpture of Byzantine Era. The Byzantine sculpture in the early days is more an extension of the Hellenistic art, where portraits of good impacting aesthetics drama were produced. Sculpture underwent changes very similar to those in architecture, where several good examples of secular architecture survive from that period. This Barberini ivory was thought to be carved at the end of the 5th century or the beginnings of the 6th. A winged victory is next to the head of the emperor to crown him, while between horses' raised legs. The earth with her lap full of fruit is holding the emperor's foot, and the other plates are at the top. The beardless Savior placed within a nimbus with the scepter in blessing pose and the sun and moon held by 2 angels. To the right of the emperor, a squire holds a statue of victory, and another plate of the bottom forming a frieze depicts barbarians and geniuses. Ivory Chancellor Diptych of Ariobindus. Some princesses or empresses of Byzantium deserved the honor of being portrayed in sculpture. They were the great ladies of the Golden Byzantine Age and were portrayed, showing the same strength typical of the ancient Roman portrait. Ivory physics depicting Saint Menas. This ivory physics shows Menas with camels. His shrine near Alexandria in Egypt was a popular pilgrim site in the Byzantine Empire. Menas, an Egyptian soldier, was executed by Emperor Diocletian, reigned 284 to 305 CE, for practicing Christianity. When the camels carrying his body to burial refused to move beyond a certain spot, it was taken as a sign that he should be buried there.